Good morning, everyone. Good day. Welcome to your class Purposive Communication. And for week four, we'll be dealing with the concept of communication and globalization. So, for the span of times, we already have discussed the processes, ethical considerations, the types of communications, types of models, the modes, and every basic detail of communication. Now, this time, let us try to understand the connection between communication and globalization. I have your question. How is communication related to globalization? Although, in our own thoughts, we can directly think that communication has a direct link to globalization. But what is that? What's the relationship between communication and globalization, based on the question? In order to answer these questions, let us first look into the statements provided by Fisher 1994 and Hall 1959. Which says there, according to Fisher, communication always and inevitably occurs within some contexts. And culture is communication, communication is culture. That's according to Hall 1959. So these statements from our experts would give us an idea of the relationship between communication and globalization, but not that directly. Because if you notice, first, communication is directly linked to culture. Now, let's try to analyze and discuss each of the statements for you to understand it better. Now, communication always and inevitably occurs within some contexts means that communication depends on the context. It's context dependent. Okay? Another one, our communication is different at school, with teachers or out with friends. And it is also important whether it takes place in a quiet university library or a busy street. Now, the statement there tells us that communication is ubiquitous. It means that communication is everywhere. Wherever you go, whatever you do, whenever it is possible, at any given time, moment, place, there is communication. So it is also based on the idea of what Zellwig, some of the experts we have discussed before, and those who really defined what language and communication are, they formulated that one cannot not communicate in the same way as one cannot not behave. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? There are really differences in the way we do and the way we communicate due to the differences in context that we have in our society. Okay? And culture is communication, communication is culture. Culture gives shape to communication. So, in general, people from different cultures communicate differently. So, for instance, Arabic countries' negotiation about prices is part of social communication, especially at markets, and it shows respect to a seller. Now, this contrasts with fixed prices in European countries. And later on, I'll be providing you several cultural differences where differences in communication are also present. So, from these two statements from Hall and that of uh, the other the other one that's from Fisher 1994, we can say that communication is directly linked to our culture. Okay? Now, what is a culture? Basically, culture is defined as the total way of life of people. So that's according to Rogers and Steinfeld 1999. So the word culture is derived from the Latin root colere, meaning to cultivate. Okay? Now, our language, our customs, expectations, behaviors, habits, our way of thinking, doing and being, have and continue to be formed over a long period of cultivation with specific physical environment and social contexts in which we were born, with which we grew up, and in which we presently live. So, during the process of learning and adapting to the environment, different groups of people have learned distinctive ways to organize their particular worlds. No? So a group's unique ways of doing and thinking become their beliefs, values, worldviews, norms, rituals, customs, and their communication styles. Ultimately, that's what we call their cultural tradition. So a particular culture thinks in one group community over the others. So in the Philippines itself, if we think of it and we look at it, we are an archipelagic country. It means we're surrounded by waters. And before water transportations were invented and created by people, we really don't know what lies beyond the waters that we see in our own places. And from that on, each of the islands and islets in the Philippines have established their own identity, their own way of living, their own unique ways of doing and thinking, which then later on became their beliefs, their values, worldviews, and so on. And we call that our cultural traditions. Now we have many cultural differences around the world. And I know for a fact that all of you also do understand that even if you go to other countries or other places, aside from, for example, Alicia, aside from Isabella, or even in our barangays, no, we have our own distinct culture. And there are differences in our culture. That's what cultural differences mean to say. But I'll be providing you a discussion on cultural differences in a global perspective. Okay, so I have provided you 15, but there are a lot more. So please research on those as well so that later on you can try to link these cultural differences and the concept of globalization. So we have first family structure and roles. So what does that mean? Now, in every country, magkakaiba tayo ng family structure and roles. So we have nuclear versus extended families and gender roles. So what does that mean? In many Western cultures, let's just say, the nuclear family, meaning parents and children lang ang andon, is the norm. Yun yung common sa kanila. Kunyari sa United States, sa European countries. Whilst in the Philippines, because of our concept of close family ties, we have extended families. 'Di ba? Sa isang bahay, nandun ang magulang. Tapos, yung mga anak ay nag-asawa na, dun pa rin nakatira. Nagkaapo na, dun pa rin nakatira. Tapos yung mama at papa mo doon nakatira. So extended family. So we value that and we practice that in the Philippines. So nakikita niyo yung cultural differences natin across countries because of the way we live, the way we think, and the way we do things. Nakakaapekto rin yun sa ating family structures and roles, no? Now, mostly, itong mga extended families, this is common to Asian, African, and Latin American countries. Kaya mapapansin niyo yung if you watch the movie Coco, 'di ba? Extended family sila dun because they also value close family ties. Okay? Gender roles naman, what does this mean? Different cultures have varying expectations for gender roles within the family. So, for example, some cultures emphasize traditional roles where men are the primary breadwinners and women are homemakers, while others promote gender equality. So, there are countries still no na patriarchal, ibig sabihin that the head of the house is the father, tapos parang assistant or homemaker naman ang mother. But with the growing awareness on gender equality nowadays, lumiliit na yung gap, no, between gender roles, especially on the concept of family. May mga magulang na ngayon, especially mothers, na sila ang nag-work. Meron naman na tayong tinatawag na house husband or home-based husband. Last time, siguro a few days ago, I watched a 2015 film about Anne Hathaway. Parang intern ata ang title nun, something like that. And yung asawa ni Anne Hathaway, si Anne Hathaway ay CEO ng isang company. Then yung asawa niya ay home-based, nasa bahay. Siya yung nagbabantay sa nag-iisang anak nila. So, that's 2015 story. Makikita mo yung family structure talagang nandun na tayo sa time na hindi na gano'n patriarchal ang society natin. Okay? And another one, anong connection naman nito sa globalization? So, globalization has influenced family structures worldwide by spreading ideas, values, and practices across borders. Later on, tignan natin tong mga mediating forces or factors kung bakit ganun kabilis nag-spread ang concept ng globalization sa ating lahat. Okay, so for instance, the spread of Western ideals through media and international education has led to shifts in traditional family roles, lalo na yung mga concepts ng Western. Kaya nga, if you also watch the movie Crazy Rich Asian, yung tradition, norms, and beliefs nila from Singapore na high Chinese luxury family talaga, hindi nila pinapanigan yung Western beliefs. Kasi si Rachel Chu ay Chinese immigrant siya from USA siya ngayon, nag-professor siya doon, economics. Tapos, naging jowa niya ay isang anak ng isa sa pinakamayaman sa Singapore. Developer sila ng ano doon, properties. Ayaw siya ng mama nung lalaki kasi nga Western yung beliefs niya, ideals niya about life, about love, about family. So, ganun ang dating. But with the concept of globalization, yung mga paniniwala ng iba't ibang tao across globe, na nare-receive na natin yun at nakukuha na natin yun because of the rising importance and power of media. Okay, media as a mediating factor, no, with the spread of globalization. So in some cultures, the traditional extended family structure is giving way to nuclear families due to urbanization and economic pressure, so which are closely tied to globalization. So for example, in many developing countries, let's just say young adults move to urban areas or even abroad for better job opportunities, leading to a decline in the traditional extended family structure. So I have a very direct experience about this. Like yung mga ka-teachers ko before sa DepEd, kasama nila ang mother and father nila, although may family na rin sila, 'no, sa bahay. But now, dahil gano'n na lang kabongga yung trend ng mag-a-abroad ka, mag-u-US, magka-Canada or so, lahat sila nagsisialisan, 'no, nag-a-abroad silang lahat. So, they are leaving the house from an extended family together with their, um, s um, spouses and children. Nagke-create na sila ng sarili nilang home, nagnu-nuclear family na sila. Okay, so yun yung mga nangyayari ngayon sa atin. And another one, number two, communication styles. high context versus low context communication, formality, and politeness. So what does that mean? So for the first one, high context cultures, for example, Japan and China, no, they rely heavily on implicit communication, nonverbal cues, ganun ang mga dating nila, and the context of conversation. Yun yung mahalaga sa kanila. So for low context cultures naman like United States, Germany, mas value nila ang direct and explicit communication. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo sa US, parang lahat minamadali ang pag-pronounce ng mga words, ng phrases, ng sentences. 'Di ba dapat, how are you doing? How are you doing? 'Di ba ganun na lang siya. Kasi they value more direct and explicit communication. While the high context cultures like Japan and China, they don't do that. They really value the concept of context in conversation. For formality and politeness naman, may mga lahat naman tayong languages, no? We have formal language and we have informal language. Ganon din naman sa Philippines. Now, the level of formality in communication can vary significantly. For example, in many East Asian cultures, napakahalaga ng politeness and our respect. And makikita mo yon because of the concept of hierarchy. 'Di ba? Whereas sa Western cultures, communication may be more casual and informal naman. Like, you just call them with their first name. Sa atin 'di ba may ma'am, sir, parang kapag di ka pa nag-ma'am, sir, parang disrespectful, impolite yung dating, ayun. So, the concept of formality and politeness across cultures. Okay? And then, we also have paano naman yung globalization dito sa communication styles. It also has facilitated the exchange of communication styles across cultures, no? So, for example, as businesses and individuals interact globally, there is a growing need for understanding and adapting to different communication styles because you're dealing with a lot of cultures globally, di ba? So, nagkakaroon ng global understanding. And it's the responsibility of everyone to understand each of the cultures that they try to interact with. So the spread of English, let's just say as a global lingua franca, driven by globalization, has also influenced how people from different cultures communicate. Hence, later on, the concept of a kakru, the circles, the inner, outer, and outermost circles, makikita mo doon yung pag-spread ng English as a world language. Tapos marami na siyang uri ng Englishes like Philippine English, Canadian English, Australian English because of the concept of globalization. So, for example, multinational corporations often conduct cross-cultural training, no, to help employees understand and adapt to different communication styles, such as the distinction between high context and low context culture. So, mahalaga na training nila yan. Another one, we have food and dining habits. I know you're familiar with these ones. For meal structure and etiquette, so different cultures, as I know, no, have distinct meal structures and dining etiquettes. Kaya nga if you have encountered this one, may Caribbean cuisine, Asian cuisine, 'di ba mga ganun, Chinese, Japanese, Indian cuisine, may distinct, no, particular dining meal structure tayo per culture. And dun din nakakaapekto yung dietary restrictions nila. Okay, so for instance, in many Asian cultures, it is just customary to share dishes, yung kukuha ka sa pinggan ng kasama mo, di ba? Sa atin ay wala lang yun, a part ng kultura natin yun. Pero sa iba, it would be disrespectful. Okay? Hindi maganda tingnan sa ibang kultura. Okay, another one, yung iba pa ay hindi pa ah, hindi pa gano'n ka-respectful kapag nagdadalawang beses kang kumain. Yung nagte-take two sa Pilipinas, may gano'n, ta's nagsha-Sharon pa tayo. So, distinct meal structure and etiquette. Okay? Another one, table manners, no? For example, yung paggamit ng utensils natin. Usually, we don't use knives kapag kumakain tayo, 'di ba, spoon and fork. Sometimes nga spoon lang. Marami akong kilala nag-i-spoon lang sila. Di sila usually gumagamit ng fork. Other countries, they use chopsticks. They use a very fine dining whatsoever. At doon naman sa dietary restrictions, may mga cultural and religious beliefs kasi na, for example, they don't eat pork, 'di ba? Or Others, they don't eat meat, they don't eat beef, bawal ang alcohol, bawal ang dark coffee or coke, yung mga ganun. May dietary restrictions sila. For religious practices naman, different religions have unique practices for worship. We know that. Like, for example, our prayers, our fasting, our ceremonies. O, magkakaiba tayo niyan. Muslims pray 5 times a day, while Buddhists may meditate as part of their spiritual practice. Di ba meron nga yung Buddhist na ilang taon na siyang nagme-meditate, parang tumigas na siya, ganun. Meron din tayong festival and holidays, and Philippines is a festive country. Bawat lugar may kanya-kanyang festival yan. And we also love holidays. So, ganun din sa ibang bansa, no? Magkakaiba tayo. Depende sa pinaniniwalaan natin, sa belief natin, sa history natin. Kakaapekto yon sa religious practices natin with worship and rituals at festivals and holidays. Ito rin, marriage and relationships. So, paano natin nalalaman lahat ito? Because of the spread of globalization through media and information, no? Nagiging technologically literate na talaga tayong lahat, and a part of that, nakikita natin at naiintindihan na rin natin virtually, no, from our own technological tools kung ano man yung nangyayari sa iba't ibang lugar. So, for example, sa marriage and relationships, magkakaiba talaga tayo ng marriage customs. Meron yung um, pwede kang iwanan ng asawa mo kapag hindi mo siya mabigyan ng anak, kapag impotent ka. Meron naman yung sa ibang culture, like for example, I don't know if it's from Africa, but I know it's from that continent. Um, kapag makikipag-asawa ka, the first night, ang mag-i-sleep doon sa wife mo ay yung tatay mo, just to check kung virgin pa siya or hindi. May gano'n na mga customs. Sa Philippines naman meron tayong pagala, may pabodahan tayo, yung gabi masasayaw-sayaw sila ta's magtutugtog sila ng budots or what. Ta's kapag umaga magpapakain sila ta's may sayaw-sayaw ulit ta's bibilangin nila kung ilan na yung perang binigay sa kanila. Tas yung mga bata na nanonood sa likod, sasabihin ako ng MC na, "Doon sa likod may soft drinks doon sa drum, tapos kumuha na lang kayo do'n." Mga gano'n. Marami tayong, marriage customs. Gano'n din sa iba't ibang bansa, 'di ba? Tapos views on relationships. So what does that mean? We have different attitudes naman talaga towards relationships. So including premarital relationships, cohabitation, meron ng mga live-in partners kahit di pa sila kasal. We practice that. Divorce, wala tayo, but annulment, other countries may divorce sila. Then, in other cultures naman, pwedeng accepted ito, yung iba naman hindi. 'Di ba? Sa ibang culture like sa Muslims, they practice yung lalaki pwede siyang mag-asawa ng marami. 'Di ba? Sa iba naman ay one and only pero yung iba may secret love. Charing. Okay. So ganun naman marriage and relationship. So iba't iba pa rin talaga yun across cultures. And we have work and business practices naman. So for work ethics and attitudes, others kapag marami akong napanood na films about this na kapag, for example, if you are familiar with the series Emily in Paris, kapag weekdays or weekends or holidays or kapag parties, bawal pag-uusapan na ang work, pwede kang makasuhan. O, ganun sila sa France. So, iba-iba tayo ng work ethics and attitudes. Iba rin ang leadership and management styles natin. So, cultures differ in their approach to work. Alam naman natin yan. With some placing a strong emphasis on hard work and long hours. Sa Japan, kaya kung makikita niyo yung mga bullet trains nila, grabe kahit magkaipitan na sila doon sa loob, talagang ilaban nila ng patayan yun para lang makauwi sa bahay kasi nga they value that and they think na kapag ganun ang trabaho mo ay you're successful, ganun ang view nila. Whilst others, katulad sa ibang bansa na mga super bongga din, 4 hours okay na sa work. Or basta matapos mo yung trabaho mo, pwede ka nang umuwi. Sa Philippines naman, syempre, we are guided by Civil Service Commission, o 8 hours a day usually. Sa pagtuturo, 6 hours teaching time. O, ganun. Yun naman yung practice natin. And kapag holiday, holiday talaga. Kapag walang pasok, wala naman talaga dapat pasok. Pag teachers, pag na-late may kaltas, pero pag sumobrang oras sa pagpasok, walang dagdag sahod. So, gano'n ang mga work ethics and attitudes natin. Leadership and management styles naman, hierarchical tayo, no, in most of the cultures. And we really value top-down decision making and respect for authority. So may boss tayo. Pero sa government offices, don't call them boss. Never call them boss. They are leaders. Leaders sila. Kasi kung boss sila, they should own something. Like a company or what. But sa government agencies, leaders ang tawag sa kanila, hindi boss. And they don't have the right to become bosses. Okay? And another one, education and learning. Teaching and learning styles, magkakaiba yan. Kaya nga makikita nyo when it comes to international standardized assessments, those countries na matataas doon, bongga ang teaching and learning style, saka ng culture nila, no, when it comes to education and learning, and value of education. So, tayo, for example, sa Asian countries, napaka-importante sa atin ng education, ng value nito. Okay? Other countries din naman, wala naman ako sinabing hindi, charing. But we really put strong emphasis, no, on education because we view it that with education, it is our ticket for a social mobility and success. 'Di ba, laging sinasabi ng magulang, edukasyon lang ang kaya niyang maipamana sa mga anak, so ano, hindi naman masasabi yan ng taga-ano, ng taga-Netherlands o sabihin natin o kung may narinig kayo na gano'n, 'di ba? Health and medicine, magkakaiba rin tayo ng health beliefs and practices. Although kung mapapansin niyo across countries, across cultures, may mga quack doctors tayo, 'di ba? May mga ano rin tayo, herbal healer, meron din tayong kung anek-anek, ayan mga pina-practice natin, hinahampas yung mga puno ng malunggay sa katawan kapag inaanamay or duduraan yung tiyan mo kasi kapag masakit yung tiyan mo or ano ba yung pipik-ipik-ilan ka kapag nahilo ka daw agad tas ang lamig-lamig ng tenga mo, naanamay ka kapag gano'n. Or 'di ba mga gano'n? Magkakaiba tayo ng health beliefs and practices. Others, they don't value that or they don't have that in them and they have a different, health belief and practice. So, pare-parehas tayo doon. But with the rise of globalization, nakuha na natin yung konsepto ng health beliefs and practices from Western culture as well. Pero hindi rin naman natin maitatanggi na ginagamit pa rin natin yung sariling atin. Okay, so end of life care. Ito naman ay ano yung attitudes ng mga iba't ibang kultura when it comes to death and end of life. And magkakaiba tayo. Doon sa mga Western, sa European countries, di ba meron na silang ano, yung capsule na kapag gusto mo na talagang ayaw mo ng mabuhay, magsa-sign ka lang ng consent dun tapos higa ka dun then boom, wala ka na. Bawal sa atin yun, 'di ba? Sa ibang ibang religions nga kapag nag-suicide ka, ibig sabihin, ano daw, hindi ka mapupunta sa langit or so. So, magkakaiba tayo ng end of life, beliefs, okay? And that's just natural kasi magkakaiba rin naman tayo ng konteksto sa buhay, okay? Another one, social norms and etiquette. O magkakaiba tayo ng greetings and social interactions. Sa ibang countries, napaka-importante yung leveling ng bow, pag-bow nila. Sa PNU, gaganon mo lang ng konti, nag-bow ka naman na daw kunwari. 'Di ba? Tapos yung iba ay hindi pa magbabow, although that's a culture kasi hindi sila sanay, but as much as possible, no, if you want to become part of the culture of PNU, you do the beliefs and practices. Okay? Personal spaces naman, under personal spaces naman ay about, it's just having varying norms regarding personal space and physical contact ito. So, in some cultures, let's just say, close physical proximity is normal, yung magkakadikit tayo, di ba? Kayo nga, pag magkakaibigan kayo, maglalakad-lakad kayo dyan, you're brushing elbows. Others, mas prefer nila yung may distance. Okay? Doon naman sa attitude towards time, napaka importante ng concept ng punctuality sa, let's just say for example, sa Japan, sa other countries. Sa Philippines, we value naman 'to, pero may sinasabi nga silang Filipino time na dapat iwasan natin. Then time orientation, some cultures are future-oriented, so they emphasize planning and long-term goals, like for example, US, no? While others may be more present-oriented, focusing on what's happening now or in the present. So gano'n naman sa African countries or African cultures. Another one, we also have dress and appearance. So, alam nyo naman yan, magkakaiba talaga tayo ng clothing and fashion. And the cultural norms really dictate what is considered appropriate clothing in different settings. So, for example, modest dress is important in many Muslim majority countries, di ba? And while fashion trends may be more varied and expressive in Western culture, kasi sila yung nagsisimula, sa kanila nag-originate yung mga bagong fashion, no? Sa Europe, sa Western culture. Then grooming and personal appearance, other countries yung mga kalalakihan sa Africa, pinapalaki nila yung belly nila para magmukhang pogi sa mga babae. Yung mga babae naman, pinapalaki yung may ginalagay sila sa labi nila, dapat sobrang laki nung labi nila kasi mas appealing daw yon. Or yung nilalagay sa leeg ng mga gold rings. So kapag mas mataas yung ganun mo, mas appealing ka daw, mas bongga ka. Yung mga ganong ganarp. Okay, or yung mga lalaki kapag maraming tattoo, ibig sabihin noon ay, marami na siyang experiences, marami na siyang battles na ilaban, mga gano'n. And, ap ano 'yun, physically appealing 'yun sa iba. So, others naman like kunyari sa Korea kapag faultless, poreless ang mukha mo ta's pinkish, tapos, um, very mild lang yung blush on at lipstick. Mga gano'n, ayun naman ang bongga sa kanila. Sa Philippines naman, gusto ng moreno na may laman konti. Alam mo magkakaiba tayo ng grooming and personal appearance, 'no? And that's good. Attitudes toward nature and environment naman, we have the environmental stewardship and resource usage. So paano ito? Different cultures have varying beliefs about the relationship between humans and nature. So indigenous cultures often emphasize harmony with nature, while industrialized cultures may prioritize economic development over environmental concerns. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga industrialized countries around the world, sila may pinakamataas na carbon footprint, no, nakakaapekto sa climate change, sa global warming. And others like for example sa Japan, nag-ano rin sila, nagka-cut din sila ng trees pero may specific culture sila when cutting trees. Kung mare-research niyo 'yun, may isang malaking puno ta's maraming maliliit na puno sa taas niya, yung maliliit na puno lang yung kina-cut nila para sa sustainability. Oh, 'di ba may mga countries naman na nagva-value ng sustainability talaga. We have recreation and leisure, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga origins ng sports, depende sa country yan. Tapos wala naman tayong idea sa basketball noon, nakuha lang natin from Americans. Sa mas games tayo, may sepak takraw tayo, marami tayong mga games din at marami tayong leisure activities. Depende yan sa konteksto at kultura na kinabihasnan. Ano ba? Basta, depende yan sa context where you belong. O, ganun yung English niya. And attitudes toward authority and governance. Yung iba, magkakaiba kasi tayo ng government types, di ba? May monarchical, absolute ba to or hindi? May aristocratic government ba tayo? Federal, parliamentary, um, sa Philippines, we are democratic country. So, magkakaiba. Depende sa ano yan, no? And political participation, before, hindi kasali ang girls sa ibang countries. Ngayon, lahat kasama na tayo. Ayan. Sa USA, may tinatawag silang electoral voters. Attitude toward change and innovation naman, unang-una dito ang Japan, di ba? Parang lagi kayo may nakikitang video sa TikTok na they're living in the future. So, ayun, yun yung concept niya. Resistance versus embrace of change. Ibig sabihin, the concept of openness, no, to change and innovation really varies across culture. So some cultures may be more traditional and resistant to change, while others are more progressive naman and embrace new ideas and technologies like Japan, let's just say. Others are very traditional. For example, si North Korea, no? They're maraming nagsasabi na they're already behind, but that's just their culture. Okay? Now, understanding these culture differences is really crucial for effective communication, collaboration, and mutual respect in an increasingly interconnected world, lalo na that we are in a globalized community. Now, the relationship between culture differences and globalization is complex. Nakikita nyo naman sa 15 cultural differences pa lang na naibigay ko, but there are more. So, globalization, therefore, has intensified interactions among people from diverse cultural backgrounds, leading to both the blending kapag nagustuhan natin ang mga kulturang ini-embrace natin, or clashing of cultural practices and beliefs. Okay?